What's up, man? Let's.
Well, I know you. So
Yeah.
Black History. It's
Okay.
it's Black History Month, everybody. It's
Shout out.
February. Shout out to Black History.
Black
Yeah,
history.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's including you too, baby.
Absolutely. Everybody, man. It's everybody's history. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I know you. You wanted a particular person that you wanted to talk about.
Oh well, I was just trying to see obviously we probably should do this throughout the entire year, and not just a month. But since you know what I'm saying it's February, let's go ahead and kickstart. You know what I'm saying, highlighting individuals from the community, African American, that's done great, and just shed light on a little, you know what I'm saying, a little history.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, y'all.
Did you have somebody lined up?
Yeah, you had the person. You looking
Well-
Who's the
why you
person?
doing that?
You changed your mind?
No,
you
no,
changed
no.
your mind about the person?
No, no,
You
no.
had the person. I was like,
No, I
we had
ain't-
talked about it
I
before. I'm
didn't-
like, this is perfect.
No, I didn't think we was gonna get right into it. Just
Well,
like,
while you're looking it up,
so soon. I don't have to look it up, honestly. I
Oh,
just
well, just go
I just
for
know
it.
the information.
let's just go for it.
But
then.
you got something to say?
No, because we were talking about the farrier earlier, and that has a lot to do about Black history too. There's
Oh yeah,
history
get
in
it. Tap into that
Well, I-
because that's interesting.
Well, briefly, while you're getting the information. So my cousin, he was saying that, people don't know the history behind farriers. You know what I'm saying? So like when the Civil War was happening, all the slaves were taking care of the ranches while people were at war.
Okay.
So they were like, taking care of the stock, the horse stock, the cows, everybody.
Cows.
And he was saying that I don't know how true this is, but I got a fact check. I think they can hear me. I talk loud. He was saying that cowboy, used to be a derogatory term towards black males.
That's interesting.
And I was like, wow.
Explain.
I can't remember what he said verbatim, but I remember him saying something like, paraphrase it, where it's like you can go up to them like while they're caring to the horses and the cows and stuff, like, hey, you cowboy, you come over here and you go clean up this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh snap! And he said it wasn't until the westerns came out, the black,
It changed the.
it whitewashed everything.
Got it.
To where cowboy was like the thing to be. And he's like, a lot of people was like, yo, like there's a lot of people that are like into rodeos and stuff.
Right.
Like they care for these horses and bulls and
Yeah.
all that good stuff. I'm like,
That's
dang.
an interesting take on the term cowboy.
Isn't that crazy?
Because
I would never think about
because
that.
cowboy is like a superhero almost. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
He's the coolest person in the Wild Wild West.
Like
you
the
know,
word picnic.
quick draw. Yeah.
Sorry if I
over
messed that
time.
up,
Oh,
anybody.
shoot. Oh,
yeah.
y'all just going, what else you got for Black History Month, baby?
Well, I got that.
Damn.
That was good though.
Yeah.
That was good.
So this week, I wanted to, because obviously people know that I'm big into fashion, my wife and and I've always found this story very interesting. There was a slave back in the mid 1700s in the UK. His name was Julius Sobeys. And what was so interesting to this story, outside of me being in fashion, is the different ways. Honestly, I haven't fact checked none of this, but this is it is in his Wikipedia. It is the story that I've seen in different articles during my research. So I guess it's true. But the difference between how they treated slaves here in the U.S. versus slaves in the U.K. was here they showed their wealth by slaves, I guess, working. You know what I'm saying? How many slaves you have working in the field, how many you have, in the houses and just stuff like that.
Right.
But in the UK, they showed it by how much they educated their slaves and dressing them up as well.
Wow.
So like the more dressed up your slave was, and like the more like artistic they was, with music, like they would teach them how to play harps and violins, like really,
Right.
like really classical instruments.
Right.
So Julius Sobeys was a slave in Europe at that time, and he ended up getting his freedom. He was a slave from the Caribbeans, and after he got his freedom, and obviously he was already well dressed because that's how they did.
Right.
So when he got his freedom, he was like, man, how do I dress now? Because I don't want to dress how my my master was dressing me, even though it's very well dressed. So he just got creative and just started doing off the wall stuff and just doing stuff that he thought that was stylish and that was cool. And it became to the point where he became famous and known for his style. So it got to the point where when he went to operas, he would have his own seat with a spotlight on him just so people could see what he was wearing, you know? And I just me, shit, I think I was like early 20s. When I found that story, I'm like, man, it just connected me with me so much because I kind of used fashion the same way when I was growing up.
Of course.
You know, for those that don't know, my younger sister and I was living in foster homes, and we would have visitors looking to come adopt kids every so often. So I just got creative one day. I told my sister, hey, let's put some outfits out. I think we put like 2 or 3 outfits out. And when our next visitor came, we dressed up and we, you know what I'm saying, pranced around and showed them how fashionable we were. And we switched clothes, came back, you know what I'm saying. In hindsight, not even knowing, that was like my very first fashion show.
Right.
So when we finally got adopted, we got adopted, and I thought it was because how fresh we were, not thinking that these are just good people. You know what I'm saying? I was a kid then. So I just always took, you know what I'm saying, my appearance very serious, and it got me to where I am today.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's why that particular that's why Julius Sobies is like a very prominent story, and something I relate to even to this day. So shout out to Julius Sobies for Black History Month,
Hey,
2020.
Man, that's a good shout out, man. That's a good shout out, man.
Yeah. And for anybody that want to look him up, his Julius is spelled Julius, and Sobies is Soubise. Okay.
That was good.
Yeah.
That was good, man.